And now let's get all our speakers on the air and start the most interesting part, the Q&A section. We have collected a bunch of questions from our subscribers on Reddit, on Twitter, Stack Overflow, Discord, and other channels. And what is most interesting, our headliners do not prepare for these questions. They didn't saw them. They didn't see them. And I think it will be interesting. So let's see. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, well, let's start from the first question. Dmitry, I think it will be for you. Just how do you like Josh and Andy's presentation? What can you add in using Liberica Native Image plugin?
Well, I like it very much, especially I follow how this story develops all of the time. So each half of year, there are updates on new successes in Spring and Native Image, making their road together. Like the one they saw in last autumn was very impressive, and now new results are even better. So that's really cool. And you see the movement of making it much simpler for a developer. So making less configurations, less code, just take it as is, use Builder, you get it working.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dmitry. Let's move to the next question, general question. It's a question from our subscriber on Twitter. He just wants to ask you in a quick way, all of you, to give the top 3 reasons to stop everything that he's doing and try a native image. Why should he do it? Well, let's start from Josh.
Top 3 reasons to try native images. It's better resource efficiency at runtime, which I like. It helps you prune your class path, which is a nice exercise. It is springtime here in half of the planet, so spring cleaning is always in order. And then third reason, what's the third reason? What's a good third reason? Andy, help.
Startup time is the good third reason.
Is that a good reason? Yeah, I guess that's a good reason.
Well, if you're working on serverless use cases.
It's true. It's true.
And it does facilitate the scale to 0 option.
Dmitry, could you add something?
Yeah, a couple ones. Like, of course, you get smaller static footprint than a jar plus runtime. That may be your case. And another one is kind of mental one or about your career. So this may be a next big thing in this part of technology world. So the earlier you learn it, the better it is for you.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Let's move to the next question. It's for Josh and Andy. Andy, you talk about use case. So are there any famous businesses that use native image in production? Maybe you can tell us.
Well, we're working with a few groups right now, but I've heard things, and I think Josh can fill us in a bit more on. Alibaba are doing stuff with this. It is not such a mature technology, obviously not as mature as a JVM that's been around forever, but it's maturing so quickly, and we're seeing so much interest from groups who want to adopt this for those reasons we just talked about. Oh, Josh, did you have any extra info on that Alibaba?
Yeah,
scenario?
I know. I think I saw that Alibaba did tests over they have this big. Alibaba is a e-commerce engine in China. For those who don't know, they have a sales holiday, a fake holiday, kind of like what's a good one, like Cyber Monday in the West. We talk about Cyber Monday, which is it's a day where people buy sales at cheap online, and there's also Black Friday, which is a sales holiday as well in store. And these are like reasons for people to go spend money. In China, they have something called Singles Day. It's 11/11, November 11th, and the Singles Day is crazy. They do it's like $30 billion in 24 hours or something like that. Like, more than Amazon and eBay combined on Cyber Monday, they do more than that in one day in Alibaba. So whenever they do anything at all, even just a small amount of it, it's huge, right? So they, over the last 11/11, I think I heard that they ran some workloads as native images on Graal. So that's really amazing, right?
Okay.
It's
Okay,
not everything.
thanks.
It's not production. It's not done, but it's a lot.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Well, the next question is for Dmitry. Dmitry, so we can't name a lot of projects, a lot of companies that use a native image. We understand that it is an experimental project. So, but what do you think is native image is production ready for everyone?
I think not yet.
Experiment. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you may be sure if you try like to get it with extra support, as you know, not just blindly switching, but of course you need to test. And there are many open issues. There are many plans, so there is not covered by existing functionality.
And
Can I add a little something there?
Yeah, of course. Welcome. You're welcome.
Dimitri touched on it. Is that testing story? Right now, the testing story, you're used to it for JVM. It's JUnit and things like that, and it works really well. And then you've built this beautiful app. You run all your tests against it. It works perfectly. Then you run it through native image that turns it into something else entirely. Can you be confident that that still works? And you're going to have some black box tests that are fine, but wouldn't it be nice if you could test to check the thing that you've done still behaves? So we are actively working on that area with the Graal VM team to come up with a way to run your tests inside a native image so you can be more confident about the thing you're going to ship.
Cool.
And we see that as a key part of the maturity story.
Mm-hmm, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. I would repeat exactly that. So if you use some tool like JUnit or something else, that you're just able to run inside a native image, for example, that doesn't mean that it works correctly. So you need to be sure that this version of the tool is kind of tested, especially for native image.
Okay, got it. We can talk about the future more. Maybe Andy and Josh, could you tell us about your plans of Spring Native?
Andy?
Yeah, well, I showed a list of supported starters. So if you're playing with those starters, you're going to be in for a relatively good experience. But there are so many starters out in the world for different pieces of technology and their integration with Spring. So over the next few months, we expect to expand what we've got. And some of the stuff Josh showed around type hints and so on should make it easier for folks to craft some stuff. We've even had contributions already where people have added support for starters. I hope to see more of that happening. So you're going to see that improve, but at the same time, we're incubating things like that AOT framework, and we hope to push some of this down into Spring Framework and Spring Boot over the Spring Boot 3 timeframe. So it's even more, works more seamlessly out of the box. So we've got a lot to do, but we've got a good base here that we can move from. Yeah, please try it out.
And the benefit of that is not just that we can do more, but with those tools, like you just said, with the type hints, with the framework, now people can help themselves too, right? It's they can build if they need to.
Yeah, got it. One more question about plans. Are you planning to support records and other new Java features in Spring when there are future native image versions based on JDK 16 and 17?
I think, yeah, absolutely. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
Well, that stuff is supported in. You can use Java 16 today, and we have some stuff in Spring Framework that uses records, and I think Spring Data is aware of records as well. So, but as for native images, well, obviously that's a different story.
Got it.
Yeah, as soon as Graal VM catches up, we will pick that up, and it should just be fine.
Thanks. And Dmitry, what about the plans of BellSoft about Liberica Native Image Kit? What will be the future of this product?
Well, it's present. You can just go and try it. If you're interested in like support or something, just contact us. And I think it is a very important part. what I tell in my presentation is that you have options when you, for example, deploy in containers, deploy in cloud, and this is an important part of this universe.
Okay, got it. And can you describe the native image development roadmap?
Of course, pick next versions, bring bug fixes. The support for Alpine is not yet entirely completed, so that's the next, well, the closest thing to complete. And there's a big room for optimizations.
Got it. Well, thank you. Let's see some question in our chat for Josh and Dandy. Would it be possible to debug the application built in this way? In this way, I think our viewer just mean that you told in your presentation, in your talk. What about hotspots? Are these optimized in the same way as with static analysis or different?
We can tackle that from the Spring angle. First, I'll touch on the debugging. You can do debugging of the native image. I have seen it. It does exist. You can point it. You have to dig out some 90 skills and break out your GDB, I think, because it is a binary. But you can step through Java code. Obviously, there's no hot swap there or anything, so you can't change classes on the fly. But you can debug it that way. What was the second part of this? It was...
No, the second part, wait a second, please, about hotspots.
Oh, yes. So part of the maturity story, I think, is that the JVM has all this years of experience with rejitting stuff on the fly. So it can optimize as the traffic changes, it can rejit itself and improve over time. We don't have that kind of stuff in native image yet, I don't believe. Maybe Dmitry knows more than that. So that's why on one of my slides, you'll see there was a gap for that throughput thing. But I think native image is early days, so there's plenty of time to catch up.
Got it. Josh, would you like something to add?
Nope, perfectly well said.
Okay.
I can append
Dmitry
some,
has something to add.
just a kind of how it can work technically right now, right? There's, I think, profile-guided optimization for native image. So you have two different profiles. If you're able to distinguish what happens to your traffic, so you have some monitoring that says, okay, this instance doesn't work very well, and you know that you have a different profile of your load, then you can switch to another statically compiled one. So you have two versions and you just reroute your traffic there. That's what you can do right now, but you have to have very sophisticated monitoring and decision system. How to control that.
Okay, thank you for that. And talking about monitoring, we have some more questions from chat. Native image seems to rule out using new Relic for monitoring and observability. Sorry, any workarounds?
For any of those things that are doing kind of bytecode manipulation, if you can do it early enough, like just before the image is built, you can still use them. So if it's post-compile step, I'm thinking here of something like aspect J, class weaving, or even load time weaving as the image is built, you can do it. But right now, I don't know that there is a story for doing it later than that, doing it runtime.
Got it, thanks. And Dmitry, will Liberica Native Image Kit accessible from SDKMAN?
I hope yes. So we like it a lot, how it works with Liberica. So if it is not yet available, I think, yeah, it will be available. And a related question is the accessibility via, or discoverability via the Discovery API. That's what we are working on right now. So as you probably know, and there's Discovery API for Liberica and other stuff. And guys heavily prepare how native image kit will be embedded into that API. So that's for convenience for everyone who consumes it in some automated way,
Got it.
including
Thanks.
different like package manager systems like SDKMAN.
Okay, thank you. And the next question is to Josh and Andy. Is it possible to build native image with Graal Polyglot?
Is it possible? Oh,
I think it's possible. I think we've been so preoccupied with the Java thing that we haven't explored that space yet, but it should be possible. We're not doing anything strange here in the way we are treating native image.
And Dmitry, what do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So it is the working part, right? So the question is basically, I think if it's simplified, can we use some Python, R, or JavaScript code in Spring microservice? I think the answer is yes, using that technique.
Okay. Well, the next question is about UTF-8 support for Josh and Andy. If you would like add, please. Is there an issue with UTF-8 support with native image, or is that just needs some configurations?
UTF as in like
the character set
encoding?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'll
Josh,
say
let's start.
There are issues?
Josh, let's start.
Sure,
Let's
I
do
got
it.
nothing. I don't know.
You don't
a couple
know.
of years ago, we had a lot of problems where you couldn't make Spring apps into native images for one reason or another. And it was things like character sets were missing and things like that. I feel like we've pushed past all that now, and a lot more stuff is just working. So gone are the days where you just can't make it work or native image will just crash. We're in a much better place now where with that bit of with magic like Spring Native and some manual configuration, you can make most things just working. So
Okay, thanks.
I don't think you'll have a problem.
Okay. Dmitry, where can we learn about Alpine Linux-based container images?
Well, that was the topic of the presentation.
Yeah, but our viewers have this question. Maybe you can answer just in one sentence.
We're going to publish some information on dzone, right? Can we announce it? Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so there will be a number of materials available in our blog and on other resources related to the topic. Basically, it is very simple. You just need to know that there is a binary that works for Alpine that allows you to build a native image inside Alpine environment, and the result is runnable there. As you saw, it is very easy. It's just another type of system, but it is very small.
Okay, thanks. Josh, does it support XMX kind of options in the same way as GVM does? I think it's native image. No?
I'm going to ask Andy. He's my point of friend.
And I may defer to Dmitry in a minute, but we don't take control of the memory controls like that, like you're used to for JVMs when you're managing XMX, XMS, and all of that. We don't worry about those so much. We leave it to native image to do the right thing, and so far it's doing the right thing. Dimitri, do you know anything under the covers?
I thought it has some grips, like it's called probably like native XMX or something. So
cool.
It's more or less the same because it is substrate gives you a managed environment. There's a garbage collection, so it's not a problem to have kind of different heap sizes, not fixed one.
That does ring a bell with me, but maybe I've just been lucky that the defaults have just worked for me, so it's not something I've had to worry about too much.
I've been so amused by how small my memory footprint is. I never thought to try and constrain it because it's never been a problem I needed to, you know.
Got it.
That's true.
And talking about something that is not working, we have some more questions from Reddit. I'm trying to build my app with native image. Is there any quick check or something that marks I've done it right to go on with detailed testing? I think it's a question for all.
I wish there were. I wish there were.
But
Really, it would be nice to check that everything you've got is correct before you suffer that giant native image run that's going to consume all your RAM.
All of it. It's like Slack.
There's nothing perfect there right now. I think it is something we have to work on and improve. Hopefully more stuff will just work out of the box. But we're not there yet. So there is going to be some, depending on what you're doing in your app, some of it may just work and you don't have to do anything. But if you're using those starters beyond the ones we bless, they may need some manual configuration. Build times are always coming down, so maybe that native image thing won't be so bad in the future. But it won't get down to a couple of seconds, I don't think, not without something radical changing. But
it would be nice if at the end of that long, arduous build, there's something more affirmative about the success of your build, something like the party parrot, something to say it worked, congratulations, fireworks, all that kind of stuff. Right now it's very depressing. It's warning, 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 warning.
Warnings.
And then small letters, build success, like, oh, okay. My hair grays every time I do a build.
I'll say there was a version of the agent once. If you think about what the agent does, it collects config as you run the application. There was a version of the agent at one time where you could turn on a flag and it would turn into a policing agent. So then it would look at the config you had and you would exercise the app. And if you did anything that config wasn't covering, it would fail immediately. So you'd know something's missing. But we didn't go too far down that road. Maybe we'll resurrect that. It's definitely a place we have to get better at, because this round tripping of waiting 10 minutes for something to go wrong and then fixing that thing and 10 minutes for the next thing is not great. We know he's got to work on that.
Okay.
It's nice, at least with the AOT plugin, that you can look at the output before the build.
Yes, that's definitely.
If you know what you're looking for.
We used to always, previously, before we had AOT, we were a plugin for the native image process itself, a feature. And we would dump out the configuration we were computing, but only at the end of the native image process. So if you were worried about whether it was considering something in your configuration, you could only check after 10 minutes. But now, as Josh said, when you run that AOT generate, it's producing the configuration right there. So you can go and inspect it before you run native image, if you know what you're looking for. That can be helpful.
Okay, thanks. And how can I know what I'm looking for? We have a question. Is there a book that you recommend where I can learn more about native image?
I don't know anyone's written one yet.
I'm working on a very long blog post, but that's still not going to be enough.
Yeah, you're going to see materials coming out from us. We're always working on documentation. It's very important that we have that, particularly the troubleshooting section. And I see in the issues that are being raised that we've got some work to do on helping educate. When you hit this problem, this is the solution. So when you hit that again, that kind of thing, you can self-service and fix it yourself. We're getting there, but I don't know. It must be somebody writing a book, but I'm not aware of who it is. Is it you, Dimitri?
Maybe you plan to write a book.
I would say that there are different topics. First, the theory, how such IoT virtual machines work. So
yeah.
What's the tech side, and the absolutely different world. Not absolutely, but very different. How it behaves with a particular framework, like Spring Boot. What are pitfalls in this area, and they're different.
Okay, thank you. We have some provocative question, I think, but I think that I should ask you. Are you liaising with other suppliers to make sure their boot starters are native compliant? For example, Microsoft have a lot of Azure Spring Boot starters.
We are talking to other groups, because if you think about the problem, we can't solve it all ourselves. We're a finite team, and there's always people writing new starters for new technology. You kind of have to be an expert on that technology to write the native image configuration for it. So we're about working with groups, educating groups, providing material to help those groups self-service. so that down the line we can get out of that business and concentrate on just the needs of framework and boot. Right now, we do have our own configuration for some libraries where they aren't providing it, but obviously down the line, we'd like to hand it over to them to say, we've had a first stab at this and this works, but maybe you want to polish it or optimize it and maintain it in the future. And we expect as native image becomes more mature, we'll see more of that. And Microsoft are one of the teams we're talking to about what they've got.
Julian Dubois has done some demos on Azure functions with Spring Cloud Function and native images as well.
Isn't it possible to make a static analysis tool that will say that something is not fully compatible in the starter that's used?
That is possible. That is possible. But we're in a much better place now, as I mentioned, where more things can work. There's only a very few things that I know you'll come unstuck with. So I'd rather than write a static analysis tool, fix those cases. If I
yes, anyone who makes this tool will be famous on GitHub.
And
You're welcome.
will write the book. Yeah, to know more about native image.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. The book is also the thing.
Yeah. Well, I have one more question from in my direct message. If this a new technology, what are the risks for you for it's to use in production?
So I mean, so this is to me, this is a totally. I mean, the apps look the same, the code looks the same, but it is a different paradigm. We're not talking about just more of the same old thing, right? It's like moving from, I don't know, .war to .jar, moving from .ear to containers. It's just a whole thing. There's a whole galaxy of things that could go wrong, but there's also a whole galaxy of things that can go right. That's why I'm so excited about it. But yeah, there's so many. Of course, there's risk. It's a new technology. There's some things that may not be well supported. It is possible to get code that is different in production versus what you actually tested and compiled against, because the build is slightly different because of things that get swapped out.
That's when I was talking about the testing story. That can really help reduce the risk if you could have much more confidence in the native image that came out of that process.
Oh my God, I just realized. What if you created a framework that was meant to test things that are running inside of GraalVM and we called it JUnit?
JUnit?
There's a song. Never mind.
I thought there was one. It may be G stand for Google. No, that's G-test. Don't worry.
Okay, nice idea.
Yeah, I have an addition. You may notice that then you get your kind of regular GraalVM build, or you get an Liberica Native Image Kit. You're getting it based on LTS release of Java. That's because at least fix what won't break as much as many parts as you can to something that's more stable than the part that's changing that has more risks. Yeah, that's why it's made so. Otherwise, you will get random bugs from everywhere. And
I have a question, Dimitri. What do you know about Leiden, Project Leiden?
It's interesting. Recently, there was. Sorry, I was thinking of Lilliput. Yeah, for Leiden, I didn't hear really kind of big updates for past few months. The intent is again to adapt what Substrate offers and to merge them with Hotspot. There are some technical issues with DLL sizes and other stuff.
But isn't this interesting? Leiden is an indication that what this is doing is going to become part of the mainstream approach. So yes, there's risks, but when you've got the Spring team, you've got BellSoft, you've got Oracle, you've got the JDK team itself, you've got all these people working on all this stuff, working on it. I have no doubt it's going to be, worth doing. I just don't know, how that stands right now versus next week versus next year.
Okay. Dmitri, something to add?
I think no.
Okay, okay.
That's a complex topic because that's how the VM evolves itself in a very radical way.
Well, let's try to find the last questions because we have already a lack of time. The next question will be general. Can we say that native image is the new era in Java?
Yes.
Why?
Yes, I think
Yes
so.
and no. Yes and no.
Well, Dmitry, let's start. Why yes and no?
Because ahead of time compilation is here all the time. So it's just the new implementation that works this way. Right? But AOT is a well-known kind of optimization for Java runtime, and it just wasn't used in this new area of like cloud computing.
Do you remember Excelsior? Or
Sure.
no, Exceljet, something like that. Wasn't that? Didn't they do an AOT
Exceljet.
thing? But yeah, that one. So it's been around. The idea has been around for a long time. It's just it's really gaining traction, like you say. There's stimulus. There's things like cloud computing that have motivated it. But I do think that the Java we have in 2021 is, no kidding, the most exciting thing. The JVM ecosystem is the most exciting it's ever been for me personally. I'm not speaking for anybody else, but core Java is amazing. What we have in the native image space is amazing. I mean, this is all now. I personally am looking forward to having an answer to people who are trying to use languages like Go or something like that, right? Or now it's like, well, maybe there's benefits, but maybe there's not. This takes the JVM code base and ecosystem into a brand new space that didn't exist before, for certain performance use cases. That's amazing.
Okay, Andy, something to add?
Really, I agree with the guys. AOT's been around for a while. I've never seen it quite push this far and this well, I think. So now we're in this world where we're working in microservices, and suddenly every little part of your app is almost paying the price of a JVM. So if you can get those efficiency gains with time, it's very compelling.
By the way, what you just said is a great point. Microservices, if you have a giant monolithic application, there's more surface area that needs to be compiled into native images. That means first of all, it's going to be more complex. You have to sift through more things. Also, there's more build time. So now if ever there was a reason to decompose into small services, this is it. Now you can compile one little thing at a time, easier to fix and get it working, and then move on.
Okay, I actually agree with you. Well, I think it's our last questions, and I would like to thank you guys for all your presentations and this Q&A section, because we have really a lot of questions there. They were, I think, quite difficult and different, and I think you were really cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well,
Thanks.
I
Thank
hope
you so
to
much.
see you in others on our one other conference of JRush with the different themes, different topics. So hope to see you soon, and have a nice day for today.